All right, welcome back into Market Day Reports. Last time we're going to get together here, folks, for the rest of the day, but you're going to stick around. Top of the hour, 1 Central, 2 Eastern. Cow Guy Close. We've got 3 great guests and some super subjects that are going to be pretty prescient. You're going to want to stick around to listen to and see the show. That's 1 Central, 2 Eastern, the Cow Guy Close. We're attracting a lot of attention, so we want to see you there too. But if you happen to miss it for some crazy reason, I know there's some, every now and again, there's some unforeseen reasons, and you can't DVR it. We're going to put it on the radio again, so it's going to be early this afternoon, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. Rural Radio, Sirius XM channel 147. You can get the show then and listen to it. And if for some reason you're eating dinner and you can't listen to it then, well, we throw it on one more time in the middle of the night, 2 a.m. Central, 3 a.m. Eastern. And maybe you can get it while you're in that cab on the way home from whatever you're doing. That was a lot more fun than what I'm doing. How about that? Well, we've given you 2 places to listen to it, 1 place to watch it. We'd like to have you watch it. Again, 1 Central, 2 Eastern, the Cow Guy Close. We'd love to see you there. All right, let's get after this. That's going to be in about 14 minutes and 30 seconds. If I keep talking like this, it's going to be too fast. But anyway, let's go to the markets, and we've got a great guest to finish up the show with. Corn, though, is down 6 1/4 cents, and SEP to 3.90. 3/4 of a cent off the low of the day there. We're down 6 1/4 cents, and the new crop D's to 4.06 even, and that's 3 ticks off the low there. Not good. Let's move on to soybeans. Soybeans are lower by double digits. We got SEP down 14.5 cents to 10.15.5. Good news is that's about 7 cents off the lows, well off the highs too, though, by 18 cents. Novi new crops down 14 cents to 10.25.5, and again that's 7 1/4 cents off the lows. That is the bright spot. It's off of the lows. Yikes! All right, let's go to Chicago wheat. That's down 6 1/4 cents in SEP to 5.24 3/4, and that's almost like what 4 1/4 cents off. 4 3/4 cents off the high of the day. So that's where we sit there. We're well off the lows by 6 1/4 cents. I guess we're in the middle of the range. March is down 5 3/4 cents there to 5.70.5. Moving right along from Chicago wheat to the hard red in Kansas City. That's coming back here a little bit. SEP's down 2 cents, but the price 5.51.5. But we have been a lot lower. We were 15 cents lower from here, right? So we were down between 15 and 17 cents on the day. We've clawed most of that back here, folks. That's a good news. Maybe this one can actually close positive on the day. March is down 2.5 cents to 5.80 1/4. Let's go to the spring wheat, see what that's got in store for us. That's about 4 to 5 cents lower here. 4 3/4 cents lower in the SEP to 5.86 3/4. That's about 11 cents off the lows, and only about 4 cents away from the highs. So that's where we are in that range. March is down 5 cents to 6.21 1/4. Cotton, let's go to the D's right there. That's up 49 points to 69.70, and that's just what 50 ticks off the high of the day. Let's get Ted Seifried in here. Ted's with Zaner Ag Hedge up in Chicago. Ted, what are you thinking about this stuff? What are your thoughts here?
Well, Scott, it's not great. We just we're quite heavy. I think the bigger disappointment for me is wheat, with spring wheat conditions coming in well below expectations, but then again, I guess that's not that big of a deal. Like you said, maybe it's going to try to claw itself back positive towards the end of the day. At least that's the one that has the best chance to, based on what we've got on the board right now. Soybeans continue to be under a tremendous amount of pressure. I feel like this is something that I've been really harping on for the last couple months. That big inverse that we had in the spread between July and November, and then when we got into August, November, that spread has just imploded, right? We went from 62 cents about 10 trade sessions ago to now we're at 9.5. And that's just a function of, hey, we were really holding on tight to cash grain, cash soybeans, hoping for that weather rally to $13 like we've seen in the last few years. And now we look at the forecast for August, and while we do have some areas that are, warm and dry, and we are a little bit concerned about some areas, for the most part, we just don't have that weather issue. And we're throwing in the towel to some extent. At least that spread is throwing in the towel. Yeah. I am a little bit optimistic that once we get into first notice day for that August, that the pressure coming from that spread kind of alleviates, and maybe we can get a bounce. We're really oversold. These big sell-offs tend to happen in days of 3. This is day 3. So maybe we can finish the end of the week a little bit better. Right. But, man, we've lost a lot of value just in the last 3 trade sessions. And then corn, crop conditions were a little bit better than expected. That's not helping things. Corn looked like it wanted to try to be optimistic yesterday. We're just not following through to the upside, and now we're testing the lows once again. So, we're in a lack of a weather major weather concern at a time of year where we're sort of headed to the finish line. I think at this point, it's not going to be a moisture or hot and dry weather concern that gets the market excited. If we get anything, it will be a harvest problem or early frost or big derecho, like that August 10th derecho that we once had. So damage is going to be the next shot at a rally. And that's a lot to be asking for.
All right. That's great stuff as usual. Stay right there, though. We need to go away. We're going to pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk more with Ted Seifried. Zaner MarketCast. We'll be right back after this. All right, welcome back. Let's see what we've got going on in these livestock prices. Let's go to live cattle. Pull that one up. Steady a little bit better here. Look at that. October up 62 cents, 187.42. We're up between 30 and 62 cents. That's not a bad board. Let's move on to see what we've got going on in feeders. There we go. SEP's up $1.02. All right, so now we've got a little green on the screen here. I'm glad we're finishing up the day on this. 257.10 is last there. And that's a decent board. We're up anywhere between 27 to $1 when it comes across to the feeders. And finally, let's go to lean hogs, and we'll get to our guest analysts. They're just a steady, a little bit easier. Nothing going on here, folks. October's down 20 cents to 74.62, and let's bring back in our guest analyst, Ted Seifried, Zaner MarketCast. Ted, anything jump out of you there?
Yeah, like you said, it's really not a bad board, especially when you consider like the S&P is down 40 points right now. So, if we're worried about domestic demand, we're kind of shrugging that off for today. It was a heavy day yesterday in cattle, but we're not following through to the downside. And that's a pretty good sign. I'm still a little concerned that we might be topping out in here, but today isn't a day where it's making you feel like, oh no, the bottom's going to fall out. And kind of the same thing for hogs. Bigger down day yesterday. Yeah, we're not positive on the day like cattle are, but at least it's not really flushing out to the downside or following through. So the bounce off the lows that we've had in hogs, this is kind of a hold, at least for right now. So we'll have to see what tomorrow brings. But not a bad board, to echo your thoughts.
All right, great stuff as usual. Super content. Thank you very much, Ted. Have a great rest of your day. Ted Seifried, Zaner MarketCast. She's in Chicago. We're not. We're in Nashville. Hand it back over to you one last time.
Thank you, Scott. Cow Guy Close, of course, coming up at the top of the hour. Looking forward to that. And, of course, trying to navigate these markets. So challenging. Another big thing that's challenging, how about buying a home?